Hi guys, it's Ray here from Man City Fan TV. After a fabulous win against West Ham yesterday at the London Stadium, City will roll on to Lyon in a couple of days' time, Tuesday night. We're playing against Lyon in the Champions League. I think if we draw or win, we're through to the next round. I think realistically, getting through this group as winners, as group winners, is pretty much a formality. Andy will be at the game against Lyon. And if you want to, get your views and opinions across to other City fans, get in touch with him. You can get in touch with him on Twitter at Aviation Blue, and maybe meet up with him whilst you're there and get on camera. So today I've got a few topics to update you on. So I'm going to start off with the news that Brahim Diaz is reportedly going to sign for Real Madrid next summer on a free. Now, I think we all know and love Diaz, and we've all wanted him to play more and more, but that just isn't going to happen at City. I remember when he was when we got him, and I first saw him play 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it was, and I said at the time, this guy's going to be a star. Remember the name, and with the academy and the EDS, he's been fantastic. And some of the play, he's got that low central gravity, great at dribbling, reminds me a bit of Kinkladze, reminds me a bit of Messi. He's got a lot of good attributes. He's solid. You knock him down, he gets up and he wants to get back into the action. Absolutely love him, and he can go a very, very long way, but not at City. I think that's quite apparent. It's quite evident. He's not even getting into the 17 men matchday squad. He doesn't even get on the bench, and realistically, what chances does he have at City? Is he better than Leroy Sané? Is he going to knock him his spot out of the team? No. What about Raheem Sterling? No chance. Riyad Mahrez, he can't get past him. So he's got a lot of players that he has to squeeze past, and realistically his only chance right now is if we have a couple of injuries or suspensions or whatever, and we lose 2 or 3 of these players, and that's the only way poor young Diaz can get in the team. And it's a shame, because he is a talent, and it's a shame that he's going to be leaving on a free. I feel last summer, I thought it was right at the time that he stayed and trained with this group of players, and trained under Pep Guardiola. I think for his own development, it wasn't probably the best for City, because City wanted him apparently to go out on loan, have a good season somewhere else, and maybe come back, sign a new contract, and see if he could integrate into the team. But I think he could have looked at that and said, look, Jason Denier, I think, did the same. City made him all sorts of promises, and when he thought he'd come back and fight for a place in the first team, or at least as a strong member of the squad, he was sent out on loan again. So he's seen it hasn't worked for Jason, and now Jason's gone off to Lyon, and he's doing really well. He scored the winner in Derby on Friday night. Very pumped up. He's having a great time at Lyon now. He's playing in the Champions League. He's had that breakthrough. He's seen the likes of Jadon Sancho go to Dortmund, have that breakthrough. And sadly for Brahim, I think it was 19 years old now, he's not getting the breakthrough at City. And as I said, I don't see that happening with Leroy Sané and Mahrez and Sterling. They're all, especially Leroy and Raheem, very young players, and Brahim's got no chance. Let's be quite honest about it. It's a quite matter-of-fact statement, but that's the truth. It is. So I'm a bit surprised, actually. So I'll talk about where it looks like he might be going, or that's what the rumours are at the moment, that he's going to go to Real Madrid. Now, is he going to get game time at Real Madrid? How's he going to develop there? It may just be that he's Spanish. He'll go back to Spain, and that suits him. The weather's going to suit him. Being back in his home country is going to suit him, nearer to his family. That's going to suit him. But I'm surprised. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't go out on loan from Real Madrid to a club in Spain, in La Liga, to develop there. Because he's not going to get into the Real Madrid first team right now. I think he'd probably be kidding himself if he thinks he can. Either that, or Real Madrid have regressed over the last few months. Sorry, if they've regressed over the last few months and he's good enough to get in the team, I really don't see it. Isco's in and out. There's always talk about Isco leaving. It's always linked to City. Some people, some wits say on Twitter, in 50 years' time, he'll still be linked to City with the move, Will Isco. So is Brahim Diaz going to push these other players aside at Real Madrid? I just can't see it. But at the end of the day, I think for his own development this year at City, it's still going to be very good for him. You know, he's still playing with people like David Silva, with Raheem and with Leroy Sané in training. He's going to learn and develop from all of them. And with Pep as his coach, I don't think there's any better place he can be. The only thing he's missing is those first team starts. He's getting the cup games, but I don't think that's good enough. Maybe once we get through in the Champions League, hopefully he'll get more game time on the pitch in the remaining Champions League games, but there's not much of that left either. So, you know, he needs to move on. Let's be quite honest. It's a shame for City. I think they're going to really just view it that they're going to lose out on a bit of money, which, you know, I think Brahim's worth plenty of money now, you know, well over 10 million quid in my book. I think he's ahead of Patrick Roberts, and he's got to be worth a decent amount of money. But it's good for him that he moves on, and hopefully he'll get to where he deserves to be, and I think that's playing at a very high level indeed, somewhere in Europe. Next, I want to talk about Eliaquim Mangala. Now, Mangala didn't make it at City. He cost us a lot of money. It depends on the reports. Was it 32 million? Was it 42 million quid? Whichever way, it's a lot of money for a guy who's just not made it. You know, some unkind reports call him a misfit. When he started with us, he did look like he had a lot of the attributes. He was strong, powerful, fast, and we saw him a game against Chelsea. People still remind me. He was brilliant against Chelsea, one of his early games. But on the ball, he just didn't ever look comfortable to me. There was always a mistake in him, you know, poor control, poor pass. He just seemed to have that lack of confidence at the highest level. And he's had, I think, a couple of injuries. He was over at Everton on loan, I think, last season. I think it was his first game or very soon after he got there, he got injured and he was out for the rest of the season. And so he came back to City. It's his last season with City. His contract runs out next summer. And with City, he started off obviously the season injured. He's played, I think, a couple of games for the under-23s as part of his rehabilitation or recovery process. So he's at least had a little bit of game time. But he's going to be another one he's definitely going to move on. It's just a matter of where he goes and what he chooses to do. With him being out of contract, the ball's pretty much in his court. And there's rumours that Inter Milan are after him. There's rumours that Wolves are after him. And the interesting thing is that with the Inter move, it's rumoured that they want to take him on loan in January and then take him permanently when his contract runs out in the summer. Obviously, they'll take him for a free in the summer, and for the loan move, they'll probably pay City a fee. I could see that fee being somewhere in the region of £500,000 or £1 million, maybe even £2 million, just to be able to get him on a free next summer. Wolves' interest, I mean, Wolves, I think we're looking for him for next summer, and they're hoping to get him on a free. But if Inter are interested, then maybe for January, then maybe Wolves will have to do something similar. Pay a small amount of a loan fee to City and have an agreement with Mangala to take him in the summer. But he's another one that has to move on, and fingers crossed he'll stay injury-free and start to develop and have the promising career that it looked like he had 4 or 5 years ago. And the last bit of news today is there's news that City are looking to build a training base down somewhere around London. And so that'll be like a second home for them when they when we go down to London to play clubs down in London and maybe in the south. I think apparently the City hierarchy feel that it will give them just a small, slight extra edge to have their own base rather than stay at a hotel. With the number of London clubs now standing something like, I think it's 7 at the moment. You've got Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, West Ham. You can include Watford in that, Crystal Palace and Fulham, whether they stay up or not. You can have 6 or 7 London clubs. And then you've got some southern-based clubs, which I'm not sure if the base is somewhere like out in Windsor or in Berkshire, or it could accommodate, you know, Bournemouth and Southampton, if Southampton stay in the Premier League. So it's an interesting one, and Brighton as well. Brighton not too far away from London. So it's quite interesting that City, you know, they don't leave any stone unturned in their search and their pursuit for excellence, that extra fraction of a percentage that if they think it's going to make a difference, a positive difference to them, they're going to go out and do it, whatever it takes. City are on, they're looking for these marginal gains in whatever way possible, whether it's with dietitians, whether it's with training bases down in the south, all sorts of things. City want what's best, and they don't want anybody to turn around and say, we didn't perform because we weren't given the facilities or the resources that we required. City players and the management team have got everything needed in place to make them perform at the highest level, and really there are very, very few excuses that they could put forward for non-performance. Guys, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, it'd be great if you could do so. Just click the subscribe icon down below and hit the bell icon to be notified of future videos as soon as we put them out. And as I said, remember, Andy's going to be in Lyon. I think he's going out on Monday. So get in touch with him at Aviation Blue on Twitter. Subscribe to him, follow him on Twitter, and get in touch and get your voices and opinions across when Andy's out there videoing on Tuesday evening. See you around, Blues.